we are now doing the portion of seeing various spiritual forms of sadhanas, activities which can help towards, Shastra says, bringing a relative peace first. अंकल आप अपना माइक ऑफ कर देंगे म्यूट
हाँ जी श्योर मैं हाँ जी
Thank you. Before we move further, since the topic is on spiritual practices and we saw puja, japa, upasana, a question was asked which I think can be relevant. There may be more people who have a similar question. Priyanka had asked a question that where does fasting come? Is it physical or a mental karma, manas karma? Is it kaika or a manas karma? And where will it fit in the order of all these karmas? Which one will be superior and which one will be inferior? So I'm going to repeat the question just in case I spoke too fast. The question is regarding fasting. Where does fasting come as a karma? Is it kaika karma or is it manasa karma? And in the order of superiority, which will be more superior? Which one is, what is that order in fact, if there is an order? That's the question. So just a little bit on fasting. Fasting is, as is commonly perceived, is related to abstinence from food. Generally speaking, fasting is a term which indicates हम आज अन्न का त्याग कर रहे हैं, हम अन्न नहीं ले रहे, or different specific kind of अन्न ले रहे हैं, etc. So in that, if you just restrict the meaning to that much, then it almost looks as it's a physical karma, because you're only involving the body. Physical will be associated with the body, but this is not complete picture. Fasting, the real term is vrat. Vrat means it is sankalpa based and therefore it is karma. First point. Why does a vrat become a karma? It is because a sankalpa is needed. What is sankalpa? Sankalpa is a willful, deliberate choice taken by a person. That sankalpa makes it a karma, because without sankalpa you can't do anything. Karma is initiated with a very specific resolution, with a very specific idea. That sankalpa determines it to become a category called karma. It will become a karma because it is sankalpa. But karmas are by nature two kinds. Just as seeing the body from the biological standpoint, you will divide the body in different organs, cells, etc. Seeing it from a chemical constitution, you will divide the body in a different way. Karmas also have a lot of standpoints from where they can be seen. One of the standpoints, which is not very well established in understanding, because karma seems always to be in doing. Karne mein is karam word. But karma can also be withdrawing, abstaining, which means karam pravritti roop bhi ho sakta hai, nivritti roop bhi ho sakta hai. Pravritti roop and nivritti roop means the nature of karma can be that it induces pravritti, going forward, activity. It can induce nivritti, which means abstaining, withdrawing. Now, if you take fasting only to mean vrat. Vrat is the real word. Vrat can be, by nature, vrat can be pravritti or nivritti. What is pravritti? Supposing I say I will do so many japas. Now this is a pravritti rupa karma. Supposing I say I will today fast, say it's Ekadasi or Mahashivratri. I'm going to fast today. Per se, if you mean fasting now, and it is only left at not eating, it becomes completely physical now. There's nothing else you're doing on that day. You think fasting by itself is conclusive spiritual activity. But Shastra has never seen abstinence alone as a spiritual activity. The purpose of abstinence means withdrawal of your sense indulgence. Natural जो होता है, everyday life, we are busy eating all the time, and it occupies a lot of time and energy on each life. Everybody spends a lot of time in a day planning and revolving food. It's like a one part of your mind throughout the day is engaged in food. What Shastra does is, or what lifestyle it sanctions to people is, at regular intervals, free your mind from such activity that you're every day involved in. Do not engage that activity. Do not engage in those pursuits to every day you're doing anyway for sustenance. You cannot do fasting every day. But once in a week, once in 15 days, once a month, whatever be your capacity, once a year, doesn't matter. You decide your capacity. But at that, emphasis is that here I am now freeing my mental engagement from a certain activity which is sensory indulgence, which is just, even if it's not indulgence, it is just sharir को चलाने के लिए. That activity is only for sharir matra yatra. And if it's an enjoyment base, then yes, of course, it also has bhoga with it. So food is one of the bhoga pursuits, enjoyment. So every day we find ourselves very predominantly engaged in the thought of what I would like to eat, what I want to eat, what I now wish I wish to have. So much of that activity goes around just food. So fasting meant on a particular regularity, you choose the regularity, you choose your day, you choose whatever you want. But at that time, you have taken the sankalpa, today I will not engage beyond this limit, whatever be your capacity. I will not think about this regular food, etc. pertaining to that. Not only that, that withdrawal now from this otherwise pravritta mind, this has to be now put into a proper direction. It is karma, I said. That means it would have some shape of sankalpa, pursuit. So the minute I have withdrawn from, say, today I will eat only once a day, that means 2 meals I have freed my mind space from. If that has got freed, instead of engaging it again into the world again, so either I watch a lot of television, or I'm talking to someone on the phone endlessly, or I'm just lazing around, or I'm doing something else which is again equivalent to another bhoga, then that fasting is actually just about physical body. Your orientation was to fast probably just to for some secular reason, from some vyavharik drishti, from some just body level. At that level, you decided fasting was going to help, which means I'll abstain from food because otherwise I'll end up overeating, and overeating will have its own. I put on, so the whole orientation is around the body. That is it. In such a way, fasting only remains physical. But if it is done with sankalpa, which means I'm fasting And the purpose of fasting is I have to free my mind from these engagements that are every day involving us, give my body a little rest, let it recoup with some other form of nature of food. At the same time, the freedom of time and energy that I have earned, I put it into certain activity, which is again non-secular. That means I'll either do more puja or more japa or more upasana, or I direct my mind into the non-secular activity, more parayanam, or I may just do some mananam. For Vedanta, most of us will say just about enough energy in the body so that I can do some mananam. I can reflect upon the knowledge that I'm acquiring. I can try and understand that, but it needs a lot of mental energy. Now, if I'm doing mananam, I don't need to do fasting, definitely, because fasting is helpful for a peace of mind. And if I am supposing already freed my mind from a lot of these body needs, then I can go straight to mananam. Or else I can stick myself to fasting means let me use this fast to do some more activity. So vrat is the real word, and now it can make a lot of sense because though fasting is only food, vrat is a general word. I can do vrat on my organs of action. I can do vrat on my speech. If I do on my speech, what will it be? Mauna vrat. If I do it on my food habits, it is anna vrat. If I do it on my mind, it is withdrawing it from all. Supposing today is a day I will not talk anything rubbish. I will not engage my mind into negative thoughts. Every day my mind runs to some insecurity or some fear or something, but I've chosen a day, and that day I've chosen I will watch my thought, and that thought I will not allow the insecurity to seep in. I will not allow anything like that, whatever I wish to control. That will make it now mental activity. And if that is a mental activity, then I don't need to answer the question which is superior and which is inferior, because you would understand it yourself. That mental activity will become superior. So vrat can be at a lot of levels. People take vrat, say, okay, if you say I do japa, but you do it along with a vrat. What is the vrat? The vrat is I will do so many japas. I will fast and do japa. There are so many varieties of japas. So a lot of a simple thing, supposing I at a very young age decided how to prevent your violence that is natural in people, how will you control that violent streak, or how will you control bhoga? So say I take a vrat very early in my life, I will not wear silk at all. Why? Because silk burns the silkworms. Now if you are burning them in water, I don't find the relevance of putting that garment on me, because I have got a garment which has involved direct injury to the person, to a living being. Now that's a vrat. Sure enough, I abide till today in it, which is almost how many decades now, in spite of a lot of occasions and everything, but that vrat holds its value. And what have you abided in? It's not abstaining from food, it is not abstaining from, it's not japa, it is nothing like that. But it is a value. To abide in a value, you have abstained from something. Vrat le liya कि अब हम ये नहीं ले करने वाले. Throughout life, हम ये नहीं करेंगे. At least sometime. Or you can take it, say 1 year, to whatever. So vrat is a nivritti rupa. You withdraw from something and then you pursue something which is directly related to your inner growth. That will make you more independent. That will make you more, that will help you establish your evolution. That will help you towards your own nishtha, whatever you want to pursue. So it can be any vrat. And I think that should be exhaustive enough. So I hope it is clear. to everyone that
Yes, it
fasting.
is.
Thank you. So fasting is not just to be taken as a physical fasting. Physical fasting will only remain at a physical level, but it will still be nivritti rupa. No doubt you will have some control over the sense. No doubt you will have some willpower developed, etc. But if your fasting has only the purpose of losing weight or something secular like that, you don't get the benefit of fasting beyond that seen result. If you want a adrishta phalam, you have to make it into a alaukik karma. And for alaukik karma, it is a sankalpa matra. You take a sankalpa. That sankalpa now means I withdraw it and I channelize it. So I withdraw certain preoccupation, regular preoccupation of the mind, which actually may be just overindulgence most of the time. A lot of our time gets spent in very futile things in a day. So those you try and conserve from and then direct it towards where you want to. And that then makes it at which level have you taken it, and therefore it will be according to the organ that you have involved. Superiority will involve in that. How does one do Mauna Vrat? Will that be higher than regular Vrat of leaving food? Or for yes, Mauna Vrat will be higher. There is no doubt about it, because it involves your speech. And when Mauna Vrat, first, how do you do Mauna Vrat is a question. One part of the question is how do you do Mauna Vrat, and second part of the question is, will that be higher than regular Vrat of leaving food for spiritual growth? So how do you do Mauna Vrat? Mauna Vrat means observing Maunam. Maunam. Maunam means not identifying with the urge to talk. First, it's the initial stage. First is the initial stage. First, I learn to not identify with my organ of speech. Most of us are in the habit of chabar, 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 chabar. We need people to just talk. We need somebody or the other in our company. So we just use the speech very indiscriminately. And a lot of us have no longer left any control over our speech. That's a fact. Especially in times where we all have we all have individual equipments of communication, like our own personal phones and our own, that personal module of communication. And we have measures to communicate, and there is no restriction because individuality is already rampant. It's allowed in the society. So now organ of speech is something that is, as we wake up till we sleep, we are all the time talking. Even if we are not talking, the second part of monam is where your mind must be also quiet along with the thought, along with your speech. So first part is I withdraw from speaking. I choose a day. I may choose some time. I may choose it regularly. I may choose it, say, morning 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
अरोरा अंकल, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको? आप म्यूट पर हो। अभी भी म्यूट पर हो।
अब सॉरी,
हाँ,
अब
अब
आ
आ
गई।
रही है।
हाँ,
हाँ,
बीच
तो
में
हल्की
पाँच
सी सी
मिनट के।
आवाज। हाँ,
हाँ, बीच
आवाज चली गई थी ना।
हाँ, बीच में चली गई थी, अब आ रही है।
Anji, Namaste. Can you hear now?
यस।
Okay. I
हाँ
am at the
हाँ,
moment on the telephone. Uh, yeah, okay, fine. We will just continue like this till it gets better on the laptop. Okay, so as I was saying, um, yeah, we were on the question. Hanji, Monam. Okay, fine. So, Monam is, since we are all the time engaged in indiscriminate talking, Monam means a resolving, taking a sankalpa that I will remain a little, okay, great, okay. I will remain a little uh, distanced from my urge to talk straight away. I'll remain a little withdrawn from an instant need to communicate, to talk. And the best would be in olden days, or even now, maybe in some families, Monum was integrated in a societal way of life. How was it integrated? It was integrated, say हम बड़ों से बात नहीं करते, जवाब वापस नहीं देते. We never ever retort back to elders. Now, you find yourself at so many times that you want to answer back, you want to tell the have a communication with an elderly person, and sometimes we get angry, sometimes we are disappointed, we start expressing a lot of things. But if there was a resolve that we never ever means unless it's a real need, an emergency, those are now exceptional cases. But here we are starting with vrat. So what is a vrat? As far as possible, we will not engage in replying back, etc. That also becomes in one ingrained form of a vrat. But mauna means simple, as the word says. It's the organ of speech that I am not activating for a chosen period of time. And then there are a lot of ways you can use that mental space, that energy that you get back. Because now you will say 10 minutes, start with something less, 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I will not speak anything. And you will see a flood of thoughts. There'll be so many, mind will be so involved with a lot of things. Next step of Monam will be that I observe that even at a thought level, I'm quiet. That means I must keep directing the mind to something higher and higher and better. So I can at that time do mental japa. Will mental japa be Monam? Since you're using it for a better reason, you can get the benefit of being quiet. Otherwise, just maunam means a state of observation, a state of neutrality, abiding in a state of neutrality, mentally. So from anywhere to anywhere, you can take this exercise, maunam, as a spiritual discipline, just at the level of organ of speech, or you can extend it up to the mind. Is that fine? And then there was this, what was the question? Yes, maunam will definitely be higher than just simply abstaining from food as a part of spiritual growth. That is just the initial stage. Fasting, honestly, the way I said it was really the only purpose of Annaka fasting. It is only now that it has become as an exclusive spiritual activity. But fasting was always an anga. Anga. Anga means as a substitute, as a part of a bigger exercise. It was not an exclusive exercise. So supposing fasting क्यों रखते थे किसी ना किसी day पे? So if it is Ekadasi, it is Vishnu. Why? Because now, even if you have to involve your mind with, say, Vishnu Sahasranama, it takes 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And every day people are running, doing everything. So where will you take that 30 minutes out from? Beautiful, intelligent way these our ancestors brought out. Take it out from your food time. Because you will spend so much time cooking or eating 3 times a day, eat 1 time a day. Your body doesn't need once in a while. It doesn't need more than anything. Yes, like Ramana Maharishi, he took the vow of maunam. Excellent. Absolutely. He took the vow of maunam. And that maunam, he brought it to the point of observation. And this point, very well said, is going to get connected later part of the book where Atma Vivek becomes important. Is that okay now? Any other question left? So now I can't share the screen because I'm on the phone. And on phone, sharing is not possible. And fortunately, I don't know how it is going on Facebook, because normally it cannot go from the phone also. So I'm glad it is still going. I don't know how it has worked, but whatever has worked. So we will now continue with the book. Any other question? I'll wait for a minute till I get a stand for this, and then. No other questions, so that we are clear on the topic. We'll move forward. So we said all these in verse 10 now. We are on verse 10. Verse 10 said, all these practices, Ritsthale Manaha, is basically to allow this running of the mind to abide in its source, to leave it in its source, which means whatever be one's resolute activity one has chosen. Now he has given us a lot of them, and thanks to this question, now we also have Nivritti Rupa Karma added to our list. And once one has chosen, he says, whatever be your chosen means for yourself, the purpose will be, whether it is Kriya, means through the means of action, Karma Yoga, or it is Bhakti, means Upasana, and Upasana up to the point of pure Bhakti, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, where the mind is completely absorbed with its own dheyam, with its own object of meditation. Up to this point, or yoga as in now he's going to talk about just one part of yoga, which is pranayam. Otherwise, he's not referring to the entire Ashtanga Yoga, but Ashtanga Yoga has the 8 steps which are enumerated in the book. Those 8 steps में से Ramana picks up pranayama, which has a direct relevance to quietening of the mind. So through yoga and bodhaha. Bodhaha here means atmagyan, and atmagyan would mean knowledge. Knowledge, when your mind is engaged, he'll then differentiate that bodhaha into another aspect. Up to yoga, all this will be, the direct result of it will be quietude of the mind. Man ki shanti. Immediate resolution. You know, it's very difficult to convey this sometimes, but people understand. If we look at our own minds, our minds are running. We all have a certain frequency, and in that frequency, our mind is running is the right word. Excited, running. Sometimes it's feeling low, but it is constantly engaged. Thoughts are always occupying. Quietude of the mind means मन में these thoughts do not have a very high frequency. शांत है. They are silent. They are not turbulent. They are not high waves. There will be thoughts, but you are always in contact with the nature of your thought. The thought doesn't carry you away. You are the one who is thinking. So you have with yourself the capacity to observe your thoughts. Itne their speed or their vega. Vega is the word. Veg matlab they have a momentum. They have a push. If you have any desire interrupted at any point, there is a sudden wave of thought, influx of thought. So quietude means now a thought which is of a frequency which is tappable, means you can observe it now. So what is the aim of all spiritual practices? The aim is to observe your mind first. What is the nature of your thoughts? And later on, he's going to say, because the mind is now so quiet, you can observe the source of the mind. Ritsthali. मन इतना शांत है अंदर और आप उसको देख पाते हैं. That is now going to help identify the source of mind, the source of thoughts. And that was the 10th verse. And 11th verse, he's now talking about specifically pranayama as a means to quieten the mind. Beautiful part about pranayama, why yoga is a distinct school in itself. We did it in Tattva Bodha, if you remember, Shad Darshanas, Astik Darshan, Nastik Darshan, if anybody remembers that. So yoga is one of the darshans, which means yoga also will help a person from yogic school of philosophy. Its aim is also enlightenment as they see it. But it has this capacity to, it has this formula, it has this model, Ashtang Roop, 8-limbed model. It has 8 aspects to it. Yama, Niyama. Yamas are the basic ethical values. Like I just said, Ahimsa is one of them. Being always truthful. You can take vrat around any one of them. So if you take a vow is what they call as vrat. If I take a vow of truthfulness, there is a vow of brahmacharyam, aparigraha, non-covetousness. So these are the 5 yamas that are first step to mind control, to mind quietude, to their last step, which is samadhi. So first step would be
I observe yamas. The second step is niyamas. Niyamas is now more direct into pravritti roop. So observing cleanliness, contentment, tapas, swadhyaya, self-study. So yamas and niyamas are two foundational blocks. And then keeping the physical body flexible, uninterrupted. Because if there's pain, there is tightness, there is deterioration. So your mind is held in the body. So keeping the body also flexible and also keeping your mind tuned to it. So asanas to help you establish concentration, focus, and not do asana just for the sake of physical body, but you are connecting it to samadhi ultimately. Your capacity to keep your body still, your capacity to not fidget, your capacity to not just let the body dictate terms to you. So it's discovering freedom from all these bondages that we are now entangled with. And then came pranayam, breath control. And this is what Ramana emphasizes in this book. And in the 11th verse, he says, Vayu Rodhanat. Vayu Rodhan. Rodhan means regulating. Vayu is breath. Through regulation of your breath, what happens? Liyate manaha. The mind resolves. Mind quietens. Vayu Rodhanat liyate manaha. So what does control of breath do to the mind? If you want a quiet mind and you're not able to quieten the thoughts yourself, अपने आप से विचार आपको सब जगह भगाते हैं, ले जाते हैं. जब मन अपने आप बहुत चंचल है, one of the ways to control it is pranayam. Pranayam का असर क्या है? It says direct effect is on your quietude of the mind. It lean मन को लीन कर देता है, मन को शांत कर देता है. So pranayam helps to quieten the mind. How? Just as he gives beautiful example here. Jala pakshivat. Just as how is a net used to subdue a bird? अगर एक bird को पकड़ते हैं, जाल is the means. आप जाल फेंकते हैं और bird को पकड़ते हैं. Just as to, what is the nature of a bird? Free itself. It runs everywhere. From one branch to another branch, aram se, the bird has got wings. So it cannot be restrained. It cannot be occupied. It cannot be contained. The bird has wings and it cannot be contained. Usko, if you have to contain a bird, you have to take the help of a net. In the same way, mind has got wings, as if एक से दूसरे, we did this in our workshop also, भागता है from one topic to another topic to another topic. And if you have, I don't remember now, but I think in the workshop we did this exercise, is to just see how your mind picks up a thought, and then from that thought it goes to another thought. From that thought it just links itself to different topics, and you start with one thought, one topic, and you land up totally in a different place with a different thought. So say, for example, if you say, what should I have for lunch today? From lunch you will say, oh, I don't have this. I can't. Then from there it will go to, oh, I did order, but it didn't come. Oh, but that person, that vendor is always cheating. And with cheating it goes to, but cheating is so common in our country. But then, no, it's not just, it's a nature, human nature. In the whole world, there is cheating everywhere. There is corruption everywhere. But you know what? Our politicians are the most corrupt. No, just not. From where did it start? The thought started from what should I have for lunch today? And where did it land? This is just the smallest cycle, but it landed up politicians being corrupt. And what is the connection of politicians being corrupt to the level of... okay. Right. So what has that got to do with what am I to have for lunch? Now, this is our mind. I am going to emphasize on this. Why am I emphasizing? Not because I am emphasizing, because the whole spiritual pursuit is around that. This book is emphasizing that. Our mind has this nature. Unobserved, it runs from topic to topic. It almost gets connected on its own. There is this, I'm forgetting the real word for it now, but it has this linking thought. एक thought से दूसरे thought छलांगे मारता है. Yes. And that is what he says, just as this mind which is flies off on its own, हल्की सी बात पे runs away. To control this, to have manage the mind, उसका जाल क्या है? What will be, just as for the bird, to control the bird, to hold the bird in a confined way, you use the help of a net. To control the mind in a confined way, what will you use? Pranayam. Pranayam will be the direct application to breathe. Pranayam will be the direct application to control of the mind. So what are the kinds of pranayamas? I am not going into the details. Everybody knows this. It's also a different pursuit in itself. But as Ramana says, it's very, very helpful. And yes, when you hold the breath in Anulom Vilom, thought doesn't appear. I wouldn't remember exactly how I said it when I said it, but yeah, I guess it is observed. In the next verse, it is going to be explained a little more, so maybe I'll take it up tomorrow when he says Chittavayavash Chit Kriyayuta Shakhayordvai Shakti Mulaka. Yes, that point I think will come in the next class of how, why is it that mind is controllable as if through pranayam. In other words, जाल और पक्षी में रिश्ता क्या है? What is the संबंध between pakshi and jal? Net. What is the संबंध between the two? While the bird is free, once it comes in a net, it loses its freedom. So the net has now curbed it. In the same way, what is the relation between pranayam and mind? Peace of mind, quietude of mind. What is the relation between these two? This I think we'll do tomorrow because, and I do hope the internet works. Unless you have a question, we can take that up. Otherwise, I hope there is internet tomorrow. Chittavayavash Chikriyayuta Shakhayordvai Shakti Mulaka. What is it saying? It says just as verse 12. I'll start the verse anyway. Shakhayohodvai. Both of these are like two shakhas of a tree. Which two? Chittavayavash Chitkriya Yutaha Shakhayordvai Shakti Mulaka. Which two are the two branches? Mind and pranayama. Breath. Breath. This is very crucial. So pay attention on this. Ramana says and Shastra says, breath and mind. Breath, breathing, prana. Breathing is only one part of prana. Remember we did pranas? Pranas, pancha pranas. Prana, pranayama means pancha pranayama. Out of which breathing is one of them, which is direct in context. Breathing and pranayam and manaha. These are two branches, like two branches of a tree, which are connected. If you pull one branch, what will happen to the other branch? वो भी खींचेगी, क्योंकि वो जुड़ी हुई है. So if you pull one side of the branch, other will get pulled. मन जब अपने हाथ में नहीं आता, तो मन को हाथ में लाने के लिए, if you pull the breath, जो आप कर सकते हैं, more easier, more tangible, that then pulls the mind also. Okay, so this we will continue tomorrow. And yes, I know the suggestion is I can use the phone hotspot on the laptop, but I know people find it very strange, but I do not know how to use a hotspot still, so I have to learn it. I will have to see how to do that. We'll figure it out. And somewhere. I don't know how to connect the laptop to the hotspot, in other words. So with this, we'll end the class. And I will just chant the Shanti mantra. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prathavi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So thank you everyone. And is there a question or else?
Thank you very much, Deepti ji. Pranam.
Namaste.
Much Hari Om.
Sorry?
Hari Om, Hari Om. Thank you so much.
Okay. I thought you had a question. All right. See you tomorrow.